I'm here in Berlin, a city that has incredible sights, incredible history, all kinds of things to see, but honestly, only one thing has captured my attention today. 2 blocks north of Checkpoint Charlie, just into what used to be East Berlin, is a building that houses Magix AG. Now, Magix AG is the company, the parent company of Samplitude and Sequoia. And this being 2010, Magix and Samplitude are celebrating 20 years of sonic excellence. So I get the chance now to sit down with the creator of the program, the CEO of Magix, and other people involved in the day-to-day work and development of this incredible digital audio workstation. This has been something I've looked forward to doing for a long time. I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. Let's go inside.
I'm Tilman Herberger, I'm the CTO of Magix AG and as such responsible for research and development, of course, of the all Magix software products. And especially together with Titus Toss, my business partner from the very beginning days, I'm one of the inventors of the Samplitude software. I think the very first lines for Samplitude did Titus in Easter 1990. So Samplitude celebrates its 20th birthday this year.
Fantastic. Fantastic. What platform was the original one on?
Yeah, this is interesting because the first version of Samplitude was written for the Commodore Amiga machines. I don't know if you know these old types of PCs, but these were really impressive boxes, with some early multitasking and with 4-channel digital audio chips and whatever. And we needed a very good sounding, high quality digital audio sampling workstation first for the Amiga computers, because you could work with sound on them, but there were only 8-bit sound editing software tools. And so Titus started to write a 16 and 24-bit sampling editing software, and this was the very first Samplitude, a high quality sample editor for Amiga.
What did they have back then for an audio interface? How did you get audio into the Amiga?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We had several 8-bit samplers, but later came also 12-bit sampling cards for the Amiga. But in the very early days, the audio came from MIDI samplers. For example, the Emax device, which had internal 12-bit sampling resolution. And from these devices, we transferred the samples via MIDI into the Amiga, a very slow process. It took minutes and hours sometimes to transfer the data, but this was the very first step. Even later came the 16-bit converter cards or SPDIF digital audio cards. Yeah, the early days in the Amiga, on the Amiga machine took place when we worked at the Musical Conservatory in Dresden. This was a very lucky time for us. After finishing our studies, we had the chance of working 3 years in the Musical Conservatory. There existed an electronic studio for electronic music, the so-called Studio for Electronic Sound Design Dresden, the SEKD name, what we had in these days. And in these 3 years, the fundamentals of the music software was created for Amiga. But after these 3 years, we had to find a new orientation for ourselves, and it was clear that Amiga will not be the future. So, and we looked around, we have seen, okay, Atari is there, Mac is there, and PC is upcoming. At these times, we had 386 or 486 PC machines, the first Sound Blaster 16 cards and all that stuff. And this gave us the idea to go to the PC platform because there was not really good working hard disk recording software at this time. Right. And that's why we had the idea to port the Amiga version to the PC. The first thought was to use the new Windows NT operating system, which was very, very early in these days. We had the version NT 0.8 or something like this installed on our machine. And it was comparable to the Amiga with multitasking and all that stuff. But later on, we learned that it was much too early to use this NT operating system. And then we ported Samplitude down to Windows 16-bit, Windows 3.1 with small address room and all that stuff. And this was the very first commercial version for the PC. Samplitude 1 for PC with 16-bit windows.
What year was that?
Yeah, I think this was 93. Yes, at the conservatory we've been from 90 to 93, and then 93 was a jump start for Samplitude and the PC.
Do you still have the original version sitting around?
Absolutely, yes. And Titus is the conservator from both of us. He has all the old versions on diskettes and all that stuff, and it's still running. You can run version Samplitude 1 from floppy drive as far as you have one in your PC. And it does work.
So you're a musician also?
Yes, I'm a hobby musician. It's only hobby for me, but I really like it after a busy day in the office and with all the programmers and that stuff. So I have a small home studio at home with some keyboards, Roland digital piano and a Korg arranger keyboard with tons of styles and rhythms, but also the very nice Krang piano of my grandfather, who played on this instrument all his life long as musician, as composer and that stuff. And it's now in our room in our house, and I like to use it. Also, I have a very old, lovely MS-10 analog synthesizer, and of course, all the software tools and instruments.
It's nice that they let you have the software too.
Yeah. Well, who would expect this? Yeah.
Exactly. Well, what's your involvement day to day now with development? What do you work on day to day?
Okay, typically I'm part of the developer meetings which take place every week or every 2 weeks with each of the developer teams. We at Magix have, of course, several developer teams. Samplitude is one of them. Mm-hmm. One of them I like very much, but of course we also have others like the video team and the photo team and the muffin team and whatever. Mm-hmm. So my day-to-day work is to meet with the developers, listen about new topics, about problems, bring in my feedback, that's what I like very much, and see what grows out of this. Really enjoy the most talking with the real users of our software, getting their feedback and combining it with my ideas and transferring these thoughts to the development team. So then I represent a little bit the real-world user and are careful that the right ideas are implemented the best way and come to the customer as soon as possible. I think this is one of the strengths of Magix at all, and especially of the Samplitude team, that we really listen to the customer and do our best to implement the ideas and make them better working in their everyday music-making process.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. I'm so thankful that you let me talk to you at this time.
Okay, it's a pleasure for me. Thank you, Tim.
And, thank you very much.
Okay,
cool.
Thank you.
Great having you here. It's really great meeting you. I want you to tell us about yourself and what you do here at Magix.
Yeah, I'm Jürgen. I'm the CEO of Magix, one of the founders. Actually, we are 5 founders with a vision. So we are dedicated to nowadays multimedia, but all started in audio and actually in pro audio. So myself and Dieter, we had an idea to market a multimedia product to a new target group, to a consumer target group. So we were looking for great technology because we knew that in our space, great technology is the key. So we were looking around where can we find this technology, and we met Tillman and Titus. They developed Samplitude very early on. They had a great technology on very lean machines. They developed Samplitude, and they took it to the PC. And there we met, we came up with the idea of Music Maker. We went into the consumer space, we grew in the consumer space, but Tillman and Titus always kept the pro audio because, and we said it's right, because our foundation is pro technology in all our products. And this is where we are coming from.
Great. What's your day-to-day like here at Magix?
My day-to-day? How much time do we have now? Okay, I mean, I'm the CEO. I'm in charge for strategic product development. So I'm heading the product managers. Okay. But I'm also heading the finance. And this is basically determines my day. So one thing is investor relation, talking to investors, building the strategy of the company, and then in particular, building strategy for our products.
Cool. Without spilling any secrets, what's the future look like, and what's on the horizon for Magix?
It is definitely pro audio. We said 1.5 years ago, Pro Audio is our unfolded secret, our unfolded treasure, actually. Yes. And we want to develop it even further. So we put now a lot of energy into the development. So Mac is on the horizon, I can tell. This is one direction, but we also see this opportunity in the business channel as well with our other product. So we put a lot of energy developing our video platform into a professional video platform. And we acquired 3 years ago Xara, who has a professional graphics, DTP, and photo solution. So we developed this further. And of course, the next effort is integrating all those 3 solutions, because we believe that this is going to be a big USP. On one side, easy to use applications, easy to understand. This creates more productivity. And on the other side, a professional platform that cater the needs of the users.
Well, thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, I'm Sasha. I'm the guy doing all these analog modeling plugins and the reverb, all that stuff that's bundled with Samplitude and Sequoia, and some consumer-based applications such as Music Maker and Music Studio. And I'm responsible for the development of the Vandal guitar amplifier.
Cool. Tell me a little bit more about Vandal, if you would.
Yes, Vandal is perhaps a different approach to guitar modeling, as most people know. A lot of manufacturers are using just stripped down models of the real circuit, and instead of that they pack 100 amplifiers or copies of amplifiers into the software, and they do a lot of impulse response modeling for the cabinets just to end up with hundreds of models. And that's not what we do. We concentrate on one amplifier for the guitar, one amplifier for the bass, and a couple of cabinets which are actually physical models of something that we developed ourselves from scratch. And that makes the difference, because we can concentrate on the tone and on the response and on something that actually lives, and it's not just a copy or something.
It reacts.
Yeah.
Correct.
It interacts with your playing style, with your guitar, and the way you actually strum or whatever.
Yeah, Vandal was the first software guitar amp that actually had depth when I played it. It actually sounded like I had a 412 cabinet out in our studio with distance mics that I could mix in there nicely. And that was a very pleasant surprise to get that sound.
That
very
was hard
easily.
work, I can tell you.
I'm sure. Well, tell us about it.
Yeah, it took us almost 2 years, at least 1.5 years to have a working model. And it started out as pretty much a happy accident, because I was just starting the development for private reasons, because I wanted to have something at home, because I sold all my gear a couple of years ago when I became father, and I needed something at home, and all these hardware style type effects just didn't cut it for me. So I thought, what about doing something on my own? And I told nobody about it, because I wasn't sure if I would succeed. And the first version had no interface, and the second one had a sketchy interface, and I gave it to the product manager, who was a guitarist, and he said, "That's great. Why not make a product out of it?" And that was the beginning of Vandal, but these versions still sounded pretty horrible, and that was some kind of pressure on me, because from now on I had to succeed somehow, and that was that hard work.
Yes.